Greetings, honorable members, honorable Premier, honorable Chief Whip, the Deputy Chief Whip, honorable MECs, honorable members, and the SEPS authorities, the senior management of the department. Let us continue with our meeting. Let us have a silent prayer or meditation. Amen. Thank you very much, honorable members. We are on the vote 9, Community Safety and Liaison Budgets meeting. Let me read the procedure of our meeting. Honorable members, this budget debate is conducted through hybrid means, and the normal standing rules of the legislature will apply to the debate. Connectivity. Before we proceed to the budget debate, I must reiterate the ruling of the Speaker which relates to connectivity problems. The Speaker has ruled that the following measures will be adopted to try and assist members who may not be able to participate in a debate due to connectivity challenges. If a member has a problem with connectivity and is unable to deliver his or her speech, the presiding officer will call the next speaker on the speaker's list so as not to delay the proceedings. If the member regains connectivity before a response to the debate has commenced, the presiding officer will be flexible and allow the affected member to deliver his or her speech. With the proviso that the member reconnects to the sitting prior to the commencement of response to the debate. Secondly, we request that member who is scheduled to participate in the debate should arrange for a fellow party member to be on standby to read the member's speech into the record should the need arise. The presiding officer will allow the fellow party member to read out the speech on behalf of a member who is unable to deliver his or her own speech. 3, if all intervention failed and member is still unable to deliver his or her speech and has not managed to arrange for a fellow party member or a whip to deliver the speech on his or her behalf, that speech will unfortunately not form part of official record of proceedings. In short, if members have connectivity problems, the presiding officer will allow the above guidance to try and assist them. We trust that is in order. Lastly, members who are not actively part of a debate are reminded to mute their microphones and switch off their cameras at all times. Also, members are requested to take all reasonable measures to reduce any background noises that may interfere with the broadcasting of proceedings. Honorable members, I also wish to confirm that the Budget Report 2026-2027 on Community Safety and Liaisons has been tabled in terms of the standing rules. We will now proceed with the matters on the agenda being the debate on vote 9. Let me call upon our Honorable Premier to come and give us the report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the session. The honorable members of the Executive Council who are present, the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Fraser, the honorable members of the Legislature, the Chief Whip, the Acting Provincial Commissioner of Police, Major General Makoba, and Major General Ekopel, the Acting HOD for Community Safety and Liaison, Ms. Makanya, and the CFO, Ms. Mbata. Honorable Chair, a nation heals in the open, not in silence, not behind closed doors. Our people carry real wounds, the wounds of crime, the wound of gender-based violence and femicide, the wound of streets, homes, and taxis that no longer feel safe. Coming into this podium is not a measure to recite numbers and sit down, but to account and to provide leadership. We approach this budget responsible, not defensively. Every rand comes from the hard work of South Africans. In this department, weak spending is as damaging as wasteful spending. Where we fail to place resources where the need is greatest, our communities feel it immediately. Early in this administration, I placed the Department of Community Safety and Liaison under the direct authority of the Office of the Premier. There is not a reshuffle. It was a statement of priority. When a province treats safety as a side issue, safety becomes a side issue. Budget shrink, attention wanders, accountability weakens. When a premier takes safety onto his own desk, safety becomes the business of the whole state. That is why I stand before the August House today as the executive authority for this department. No economy grows in fear. No child lands in fear. No woman walks free in fear. Investors do not build factories where they fear for their staff. Tourists do not return where they fear for their families. Small traders do not open early or close late where they fear for their lives. Every rand we spend chasing crime after the facts is a rand we did not spend preventing it. This budget vote turns that logic around. This is the year we fund prevention, we fund a presence, and we fund a protection. Honorable Chair, let us be honest with this House and with our people. Crime remains a daily reality in too many communities. Gender-based violence and femicide remains a daily reality in too many homes. Stock theft and rural crime remain a daily reality on too many farms. I will not stand here and pretend these problems are fully resolved. They are not. But I will tell this House plainly that this department is doing good work, working with the police and all other safety structures in the province, and what it will cost to do it. I'm deeply concerned by the attacks on our community safety structures. These brave men and women who risk their own safety for their neighbors. To attack a patroller or a safety volunteer is to attack the heart of community resilience, the fully investigative power of the state will protect them. The escalating violence against women, children, people with disability, and older person is unacceptable. We are drawing a firm line. We will keep working with SABS, Amakosi, and civil society to see that perpetrators face the full force of the law. We will keep standing outside our courts, opposing bail for violent offenders. Victims deserve justice, and they deserve it now. This is the reason why the handover of SABS Forensic Science Laboratory at Mayville in April 2026 matters. Forensic Science Lab is at the backbone of modern policing. It protects the innocent and secures convictions. It will also ease the pain of families who wait too long for postmortem results before they can bury their loved ones, and expedite the administration of justice. These developments will go a long way to improve police efficiency, thereby reducing the burden on the department and better service delivery to our communities. Honorable members, for the 2026-2027 financial year, the department is allocated a total budget of 287 million. 357,000 rands, denoting a 4% increase compared to the previous year. This budget is carefully divided into two core programs to ensure we make the biggest impact on the ground. For Program 1, covering administration, is allocated 127.28 million, while Program 2 focuses on civilian secretariat for the police service and our core delivery mandates, which is allocated 160.075. This denotes a 6% and 3% increase on both programs respectively, compared to the previous year. With regards to conditional grants for EPWP for the current financial year, the department is allocated a total budget of 4.182 million compared to 2025-2026 financial year, which was 5.324, denoting a 27% decrease compared to the previous year due to cost cuttings. Honorable members, a budget vote that does not show its arithmetic is not a budget vote. It is a wish list. The House deserves better. Our people deserve better. As a result, I've instructed the department to report to the Legislature every quarter, program by program, rand by rand, not once a year, 4 times a year. In contribution to building a capable, ethical, and developmental state, we prioritize the institutional capacity building. The department operates with 201 posts, 82 seats at district level, serving a province of 12.4 million people. That is a small team fighting a massive battle. In addressing this quagmire, we are cutting our vacancy rate from a historical 14% down to a target of 5%. A new chief financial officer appointed in April 2026 gives us the financial stability to build on. We are training our officials in contract management, monitoring and evaluation, supply chain management, and above all, ethics. Public service is calling, not a job. For 2024-2025, the department received an unqualified audit opinion with findings. In ensuring that we move from this position to clean audit, we are strengthening internal controls and compliance within the Public Finance Management Act. 7 cases of irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure were processed during 2025-2026 financial year, with a marked improvement in turnaround time. 3 forensic investigation reports were received, and corrective action is underway. By the fourth quarter of 2025-2026, payment of valid invoices within 30 days improved from 93% to 99.7%. Delayed payments destroy small businesses. We refuse to be part of that failure. 49% of our procurement spend went to women-owned enterprises, exceeding our 40% target. 38% went to our youth-owned enterprises, beating our 30% goal. We met our 2% target for enterprises owned by persons with disabilities, and we are pushing further. We have launched an e-leave management system and a secure digital contract system, freeing our officials to spend less time on paperwork and more time on oversight and community work. The Provincial Secretariat for Police Service is where oversight, prevention, and community mobilization meet the daily realities of crime in our province. Comparing crime statistics for January to March 2026, within the same period in 2025, the 17 community reported serious crime fell by 2.4% across the province. Conduct crimes has shown a slight increase of 0.4%, common assault cases by 82%, and assault with an intention to inflict grievous bodily harm by 6.3%. And we need to respond to the question as to what is going wrong with the behavior of our people. And we are addressing that, working with the police, working with the safety structures and other government departments. Murder fell down by 11.3%, meaning 135 cases. Attempted murder fell by 2.6%, meaning 44 cases. Common robbery fell by 9.4%, meaning 177 cases. Sexual offenses cases decreased by 25 counts. Robbery with aggravating circumstances fell by 12.2%. These numbers mean lives saved. They do not erase the pain of families who have already lost someone. Our task now is to protect these gains and refuse complacency. This Department of Community Safety and Liaison has a direct responsibility and role over the work of our police, our safety structures in the province, of which its impact is seen by the numbers or crime stats when they are presented on quarterly basis by the police minister at a national level and by the provincial commissioner at a provincial level, and by the participation of our society in the fight against a crime. Honorable members, we cannot celebrate while violence still haunts specific areas and vulnerable people. The noted slight decrease, which is 1%, in the sexual offenses tells us clearly that the fight against gender-based violence needs fresh tactics, deeper community involvement, and stronger legal consequences. That is why, through the OTP, I presented that there is now an active action plan by all government departments and municipalities, which is meant to address the challenge of gender-based violence in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Furthermore, some districts saw alarming spikes in murder that went against the positive provincial trend. The eThekwini Metro recorded 17 additional murders, Umzinyathi an increase of 8 murders, Umkhwanyakude 7 and Zululand 6. Most starkly, the eThekwini Metropolitan Municipality still carries the heaviest burden, accounting for a massive 41.9% of all murders in the entire province. The KwaZulu-Natal Council Against Crime is fully activated, monitoring our provincial integrated crime and violence prevention strategy, which is funded by the very same government, and building partnership across business, civil society, law enforcement, and traditional leadership. Our data-driven hotspots model is already running in Nanda, Umlazi, Mpumalanga, and Inchanga, and other areas. In 2026-2027, we extended it to our border areas, including the Lesotho border. We are on record having visited all the borders between KwaZulu-Natal so as to understand the challenge of our porous borders, not to only analyze and understand the challenge, but to also make a contribution, though minimal, as we have donated the drones, which are quite helpful to monitor those who are crossing our borders illegally. So, we have identified 62 hotspot schools, of which 22 are now fitted with working CCTV cameras, and the balance of 40 schools will be fitted with cameras. We are continuing to roll over this technology to ensure the safety in our school. And we are also reviving the Scouts program in partnership with the Indonsa Arts and Craft Movement, building discipline, leadership, and civic responsibility in our young people. We are also working with the leaders of the regiments in the province of KwaZulu-Natal for social cohesion and moral regeneration. And we believe those initiatives, they will introduce or deliver a better, safer KZN province. And we are working with a private sector, private security. We are coordinating all the law enforcers, whether government or private, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We have trained and equipped 3,251 of a targeted 3,595 community safety members across 11 district municipalities. They are the eyes and ears of the state, and we do not take their volunteer spirit for granted. Over the 20 months, I've sat in the homes of families affected by murder and by gender-based violence and femicide. Their pain shapes our response. We have placed 210 gender-based violence activists directly in our communities. They walk survivors through a system that too often feels fragmented and exhausting. From police station to clinic to court, they keep cases from being forgotten. We have placed 48 law graduates at police stations and within the state attorney's office. At Umlazi's SEPs alone, they've already had a reduced wrongful arrest, protecting rights and saving the state legal cost. Through the expanded public works program, we will create 1,000 jobs opportunities this year, but also address gender-based violence and femicide. Community safety patrollers, GBV activists, law graduates, safety liaison officers, and data capturers. We are weaving our youth directly into the safety of their own neighborhood. An amount of 21.6 million is set aside for this important intervention. New community safety patrollers will be deployed in priority areas. Safety must be built with the people, not imposed on them. We hosted 16 crime-fighting Izimbizo across 9 districts, giving citizens a direct line to police leadership, because we are inviting a whole of society approach in fighting crime in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, funded by the very same Department of Community Safety and Liaison. That is why it was not by incident that on the 30th of June this year, for the uncertainty that was keeping every citizen, every business person, every sector with a sleepless night, we delivered KwaZulu-Natal being able to collaborate with the whole society in protecting our infrastructure, in protecting business, in protecting the lives. Though there are incidents, as you have heard, that 51 people were arrested who were planning to loot the smaller shops owned by the foreign nationals. And 250 foreign nationals that are undocumented were arrested during that course. And we really thank the leadership of the acting provincial police commissioner, Major General Makoba, a woman, who delivered that day on the 30th of June in this province, different to what we experienced previously. Working alongside with the provincial commissioner, Lieutenant General Ntlahla Mkhwanazi, and the acting national minister, together with the President of the Republic, because there was even an interministerial committee that was meant to ensure that we have a safe province during that day. Honorable members, porous borders threaten our stability and our economy. As I've already mentioned, that we are now using drones technology to monitor our borders between KZN and Mozambique, KZN and Eswatini, and Lesotho. With the new drones now deployed at Kosi Bay, Libombo, and Sunny Pass. Between February and June 2026, we convened the high-level roundtable discussions on undocumented migration, bringing together justice, crime prevention, and social sector stakeholders. This work culminated in the Operation Engangeni Ngesango Iyafohla Summit, uniting government, law enforcement, traditional leaders, civil society, business, and the diplomatic corps. The summit delivered a program of action: stronger border management, better intergovernmental coordination, and a firm lawful enforcement alongside the respect for human dignity and constitutional rights. With regard to 30 June 2026 marches, as I've already mentioned, as I've already commended, our police, SAPS, Metro Police, Border Management Authority, community safety structures, and all security stakeholders, including the private security, who kept the overwhelming majority of activities peaceful. 288 Tamakos in our province are now trained and confirmed as commissioners of oath. This brings essential administrative services closer to rural communities, saving our people long journeys to town. Madam Chair, with local government elections ahead, we are working with SABs to identify hotspots for political intolerance before violence breaks out. We are reviving our multi-party political intervention committee. The ballot box, and only the ballot box, must decide political battles in this province. We monitor all 184 police stations in KwaZulu-Natal with the very same budget. We invested 208 service delivery complaints this past. We actually investigated 208 service delivery complaints this past year. Where officers fail their duty, there will be consequences. We are pushing to move certain operational powers, such as vehicle repairs, from national to provincial level. I have personally engaged the acting Minister of SABS that the delays in the police vans repairs, it affects service delivery. Police vans cannot sit in garages for months while our communities are under attack. The department allocated 4 mobile police stations to Inanda, Bulwa, Folozi, and Gwamakuta as a donation. We have audited 922 dockets in areas including Ingwavuma, Ezakeni, Plesisle, and Bulwa, and other areas, to understand why cases stall and to force real improvement. Prevention is cheaper than a response, and it is kinder than a response. Our community policing forums and community safety forums are active across all 11 districts, alongside our rural safety strategy with stop theft forums and regional councils. Honorable members, a budget vote is a promise. A promise must be kept, and a promise must be checked. I commit this department to clean audit outcomes, not as an aspiration, but as a condition. I commit this department to quarterly public reporting against every program in this vote, and to fully cooperate with Auditor General, the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, and this Legislature. Where money is misused, there will be consequences. Where targets are missed, there will be answers. Where performance is strong, there will be recognition. This is what it means to place community safety under the office of the Premier, not less scrutiny, more scrutiny. Our forebears did not fight for a province where a woman fears the walk from the taxi rank to her front door. They did not fight for a province where a farmer fears a nightfall on his own land. They did not fight for a province where a child's road to school is measured in danger. They fought for freedom. Freedom is unfinished, while safety is unfinished. We refuse to let community safety be anyone's afterthought while we lead the development of community safety and liaison. To the women, children, older persons, and people with disabilities of our KwaZulu-Natal, your protection remains the driving priority of this administration. To our youth, you are the builders and guardians of our future, and to our communities, work with us, share information, reject violence in your homes, refuse to buy stolen goods because that trade funds the criminals who terrorize us all. Today, with this budget vote, we draw a line. We recommit to a province where the rule of law reigns supreme. We recommit to a society where women walk freely without fear. We recommit to an economy free of the shadow of extortion. We recommit to a justice system that protects the innocent and punishes the guilty with certainty. As this approach of the seventh administration is also led by the investment in technology to fight crime and the work which is intelligent and led to fight crime in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We continue to work with all law enforcers, with all private security, with the traditional leaders, the civil organizations, and the private security in arresting crime in our province. I thank the Honorable Chair and this House for the opportunity to present this budget vote, and also wish to thank the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Fraser, and the members of this portfolio for the guidance and the support. I wish to also extend my appreciation to South African Police Services and Metro Police and the entire security sector for their partnerships. Together, let us restore confidence in our institutions. Together, let us defend the vulnerable. Together, let us build safer communities. From our borders to our cities, together, let us inspire new hope for a secure, prosperous, and peaceful KwaZulu-Natal. I hope this House will support the budget vote 9, as I've been categorical and clear in the presentation on the achievements and the intentions with the allocation. Not supporting this budget will be not supporting safety and security in the lives of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. The next speaker is the Chairperson for Community Safety and Liaisons, Honorable Fraser.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Premier and your Executive Council, members of this august House. I rise again to table the 2026-27 budget report of this Portfolio Committee on Premier Community Safety and Liaison, which focuses on Vote 9, Department of Community Safety and Liaison. The briefly outlines the deliberations on the 2026-2027 APP and budget. The Premier has covered areas that the Portfolio Committee will play vigorous oversight on in this financial year. The Portfolio Committee met with the Department of Community Safety and Liaison on the 9th of December 2025 to discuss the department's first draft APP and budget allocation for the 2026-2027 financial year. The final draft APP and budget for the 2026-2027 financial year were discussed at a meeting between the Portfolio Committee and the Department on the 5th of June 2026. Honorable Chairperson, these documents were presented in detail on the same day to the stakeholders at KwaMaphumulo Town Hall, Ilembe District. In Ilembe District, stakeholders were allowed to make their input as the Legislature is mandated by Section 118 of the Constitution of the Republic. The committee noted that the department's APP for 2026-27 outlines a consistent program structure focusing on its only two programs, which is Administration and Provincial Secretariat for police services, which is the department's main service delivery program. The committee noted that the Department of Community Safety and Liaison has recognized that it has a crucial oversight role to play over the South African police services and municipal police departments, promotion of community police relations, and management of the enhancement of community safety structures within the province. The committee further observed that overall the department's plan indicates a commitment to improving institutional capacity, police oversight, and community safety. The committee welcomes the department's strengthening of its oversight on SAPS, which is evident in the increased targets for accountability sessions with SAPS management and dockets audited. This further suggests that the department is focused on improving police accountability and addressing service delivery gaps, which is the area in which the committee has a keen interest. As part of its oversight role, the committee will closely monitor the work of this department and the implementation of resolutions during the 2026-2027 financial year, especially those from the Finance and Scopa committees. The committee will also track its monthly and quarterly resolution as directed by the sector oversight model. The committee has noted that the Department of Community Safety and Liaison 2026 provincial allocation has increased slightly from the last financial year allocation of 275 million to 287 million. In this financial year, this represents a budgetary increase of 4.22%, which in addition to an inflationary increase has been necessitated by the departments receiving an additional of 789,000 for the early retirement program and voluntary exit program. The Portfolio Committee has observed that the department's final budget is aligned with the final annual performance plan at various programs levels. The committee welcomes that the department has considered the cost curtailment measures as per provincial treasury guidelines. Again, in vote 9, the committee will exercise vigorous oversight to ensure that no economic category will suffer due to the reprioritization of funds. The committee wishes to place on record that it will be playing financial and non-financial oversight roles over the final allocation of 287 million allocated to the Department of Community Safety and Liaison in the 2026-27 financial year for carrying out its mandate of playing oversight over community safety structures and police services. The majority of the Portfolio Committee members at the meeting on the 5th of June 2026 supported the 2026-2027 vote 9 budget of the Department of Community Safety and Liaison. Inkatha Freedom Party voted in support. African National Congress voted in support. Democratic Alliance voted in support. Umkhonto weSizwe Party voted against. The Economic Freedom Fighters abstained. Honorable Chairperson, in playing its oversight over the above allocated budget for the Department of Community Safety and Liaison for the 2026-27 financial year, the committee wishes to bring to the attention of this House that it desires to assist the department to be one of the leading examples in utilizing its shoestring budget effectively. The sector oversight model mechanisms will be utilized extensively by the committee to ensure the Portfolio Committee effectively oversees the department. Our observation as the committee. During the engagement with the Department of the Portfolio Committee of the Department of Community Safety and Liaison, the committee could highlight the following areas of observation. 1. The department managed to secure 303 million in this 2026-27 financial year, down from 5 million on the EPWP integrated grant for province to create work opportunities for social crime prevention volunteers who are employed within the VSCPP. 2, for the 2026-2027 financial year, the department has budgeted an additional allocation of 22 million in respect of the community safety structures, complaints and management systems, GBV activists, and placement of law graduates. 3, the department has catered for a new sub-program office of the ministry in the 2026-2027 financial year with a budgeted amount of 5 million in the 2026-2027 financial year, providing for the establishment and full operationalization of the new office under Program 1 administration. And lastly, the funds were reprioritized from Program 2 Provincial Secretariat for Police Services under the compensation of employees economic category. The committee will exercise vigorous oversight over the EPWP grant to ensure that people in the province have access to the work opportunities it provided. The committee has noted that the Department of Community Safety, as we conclude, Chair, I take this opportunity to thank the Premier, Honorable Etienne Tuli, for this comprehensive budget policy statement. I also wish to thank all members of the Portfolio Committee for the political maturity displayed during the consideration of the Department of Community Safety and Liaison Vote 9 budget. We also extend our appreciation to the outgoing, or rather the new DG of the province, Ms. Kanyile, and Ms. Acting HOD, Ms. Makhanya, and the senior management of the department for their understanding during the robust deliberations during committee meetings. We also wish to thank the SAPS Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkwanazi, and also the Acting Provisional Committee, Lieutenant General Makhoba, and their senior management for honoring the Portfolio Committee by giving important reports at our meetings and whenever the committee requires information during oversight visits. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Fraser. The next speaker is Honorable Mkhize from the MKP.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, we stand here today to engage with the fourth quarter report of the Department of Community Safety and Liaison Department that sits at the heart of the public safety, police oversight, and the daily lived reality of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. At face value, the report attempts to present a story of success. We are told that the department has spent 100% of its allocated budget of 275.7 million and achieved 100% of its annual target. But, Honorable Chairperson, when we move beyond percentages and interrogate the substance behind the figures, a very different and deeply concerning picture emerges. Because governance is not measured by how you spend, by what you achieve with that spending. Honorable Chairperson, let us begin with the financial realities. While the department celebrates a full expenditure, the quality of the spending is highly questionable. The financial report shows overspending in key expenditure categories, including goods and services, capital asset and transfers, with capital asset alone reaching as high as 225% of the budget, and transfers escalating to 711%. This is not excellence. This is not efficiency. This is a poor planning. It tells us budgets are not credible. That expenditure is reactive rather than strategic, and that the department is failing to align its planning with the actual operational needs. Even more concerning in that this overspending coexists with underspending on compensation due to unfilled posts. In simple terms, Honorable Chairperson, the department is overspending on items it will control, while failing to fill the very required to deliver on its mandate. And this brings us a fundamental contradiction. The department admits that vacancy rates, including critical and senior positions, remain unfilled due to delay in recruitment. At a time when crime continues to terrorize communities across KwaZulu-Natal, we have a department responsible for oversight in operating below capacity by its own admissions. How do we speak of effective police oversight when key positions are vacant? How do you ensure accountability when coordination structures are understaffed? How do we build safer communities when leadership gaps persist? Honorable Chairperson, it is not technical oversight. It is a failure of governance. Let us now turn to the issue of financial compliance and accountability. The department currently carries irregular expenditure amounting to over 40 million, alongside fruitless and wasteful expenditure exceeding 736,000. These include audit findings linked to irregular approvals and ongoing investigations that have still not been concluded. Honorable Chairperson, while the department assures us that these matters are under investigations, the reality is that year after year, irregular expenditure continues to grow. This reflects not isolated mistakes, but a systematic breakdown in financial control and consequence management. And once again, it is the people of this province who pays the price. Honorable Chairperson, let us consider the department's performance against its stated target. The report indicates that 84% of quarterly targets were achieved in Q4, with Program 2, which is responsible for policy oversight, achieved only 75% of its target. This is deeply concerning because Program 2 is not an administrative function. It is a core of department's mandate, ensuring that SAPS is monitored, held accountable, and responsive to the needs of communities. Yet with this program, police station monitored fell short of target, with only 50 out of 54 stations monitored. Monitoring of compliance with the Domestic Violence Act also below target, reaching only 42 out of 45 stations. Honorable Chairperson, these are not abstract numbers. These are failures that have real consequences. Each missed police station inspection represents a missed opportunity to identify the failures in policing. Each missed Domestic Violence Act audit represents victims who may not receive the protection they deserve. Furthermore, the department repeatedly attributes underperformance to what it calls overachievement in previous quarters. Honorable Chairperson, this explanation is simply not acceptable. A performance management cannot operate on a system where overperformance in one quarter excuses underperformance in another. This approach undermines accountability and creates the illusion of consistency where neither exists. The people of KwaZulu-Natal do not experience crime quarterly. They experience it every day.
Thank you, Honorable Mkhize. The next speaker from the IFP is Honorable MP Gwala.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Premier, MECs, present, Honorable Mbali Fraser, our Chairperson, Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Members, Oscar Tlamapande, Bama Poisa, Major General Makoba, Major General Kopel, Ms. Makanya, Acting CFO, and staff of the department. Honorable Chairperson, the work of the Department of Community Safety and Liaison is directly aligned with Chapter 12 of the National Development Plan, which envisioned safer communities and South Africa in which people feel secure and live without fear or favor. I wish to declare right from the outset that the IFP support budget, vote 9. IFP is always sober and doesn't live in a fool's paradise. Any rand added to support community safety is supported. We are tired of people who masquerade as sheep by day and a wolf by night. We are encouraged by progress in strengthening the province's criminal justice system. The newly established Mayville Forensic Science Laboratory marks a significant step toward ending KwaZulu-Natal's reliance on facilities in Pretoria and the Western Cape for DNA processing. This will reduce the backlog of more than 13,000 cases and help restore public confidence in the justice system. Most importantly, it offers renewed hope to victims of gender-based violence and other serious crimes who deserve timely justice. We welcome and support the allocation of 287.357 million rand to the Department of Community Safety and Liaison for the 2026-27 financial year. However, we remain concerned that this allocation may not fully meet the department's broad mandate. Community safety remains a pressing priority, and we call on Provincial Treasury to consider funding to ensure the department is adequately resourced to combat crime effectively. We also support the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government's campaign aimed at addressing illegal immigration and related criminal activity. This stance is commendable. However, it must be pursued within the law and without violence, vigilantism, looting, or xenophobia. We must remain firm against crime while upholding human dignity and social cohesion. We further welcome the 22.2 million rand allocated to the Safety Promotion and Community Police Relations sub-program. This will support an electronic complaints management system, the appointment of GPV activists, and other interventions that strengthen accountability and community participation. The department, under the leadership of Honorable Premier Tamin Tuli, deserves recognition for its effort to improve safety in our province. While crime remains a challenge, there is clear progress in coordinated action. We acknowledge the strong working relationship between the department and the South African Police Service under Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. We also commend the Premier for supporting the retention of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi as Provincial Commissioner. His leadership has strengthened the fight against crime and improved public confidence in policing. We are also proud of Major General Makhoba, who is following in the footsteps of General Mkhwanazi. Fighting against criminality is not like enjoying a dinner party. The department must be applauded for compliance with procurement legislation and its support for women, youth, and persons with disability. We also commend adherence to the 30-day payment rule, which is vital for supporting small businesses and sustaining economic activity. During the 2025-26 financial year, 200 jobs opportunities were created with a target of 1,000 set for 2026-27. This contribution to job creation is welcome. We note that 184 police stations were targeted for monitoring in 2025-26 with 134 monitored. Increased police visibility remain one of the most effective deterrents to crime and is essential to restoring public confidence. Communities must see and feel the presence of police in their areas. Injury time,
No injury time. Thank you very much. The next speaker is Honorable S.E. Hlomuga from the ANC.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to yourself, as Premier, MSs, and all honorable members, generals, the acting HOD. The African National Congress rises in full support of the budget vote of the Department of Community Safety and Liaison, which builds upon the priorities of positioning the province as a safe destination, tourism, investment, and safe place to live in. At the outset, let me commend the department under the leadership of the Premier Antoli for their unwavering commitment to create a safer community across the province. Safety is not simple a policing matter. It is a foundation upon the education, economic growth, and social cohesion and human development are built. Without safety, learners cannot learn. Without safety, teachers cannot teach. Without safety, businesses cannot invest. And without safety, communities cannot prosper. In 2012, KwaZulu-Natal Community Safety and Liaison Strategy focused in 3 critical pillars to achieve those priorities. One is integrating police oversight, enhancing social crime and prevention, fostering cross-border cooperation. As a Department of Education, we understand that classroom does not exist in isolation from society. The challenges that are confronted our communities are also affecting our schools. Crime, sustainable abuse, gender-based violence, and exploitation of children undermine the very purpose of education. That's why, for this reason, Chairperson, that we regard the work of the Department of Community Safety and Liaison as we can't separate it with education excellence. And Chair, the safety of a girl child deserves a particular attention. Every child in KwaZulu-Natal must be able to walk to school without fear. She must be able to study without intimidation. She must be protected from sexual violence and exploitation and human trafficking and from all forms of abuse. When a girl child feels unsafe, her education suffers and attendance decline and concentration is affected. Protecting a girl child is therefore not a moral obligation. It is an educational imperative and investment for the future of our province. Women and girls must occupy their rightful space as equal participants in society. This cannot happen unless government create an environment where they are safe to learn, to work, to travel, particularly full in economic and social life. We therefore welcome the programs that strengthen the community policing, improve school safety, combat gender-based violence, and foster closer partnership with law enforcement agencies and the communities. We understand that the fight against crime cannot be won by law enforcement agencies citing alone. The complex social challenges confronting our communities require an integrated response. This is why we must implement a DDM. The African National Congress, we believe in the DDM, as already indicated, and the safety of our schools remain the shared responsibility. The Department of Education continue to work closely with the Department of Community Safety and Liaison, police and SAPS, and governing body and municipalities. We must continue to eradicate violence, and every textbook stolen is the opportunity denied, every classroom vandalized, delay learning, every act of violence against a learner weakening our education system. Safety is equally important for economic development. No investor will establish factor where crime.
The next speaker is Honorable ENM Tetwa from the MKP Party.
Ngibingelele kusihlalo. Ngibingelele kumhlonishwa uPremier walendlu yethu ehloniphekile KwaZulu-Natal. Ngibingelele ku sengicishe ngashenye into ngathi kumhlonishwa engena ngesange yafohla. Ko General neteam yakhe yonke siyabingelela. Bahlonishwa bonke. Chairperson, as MKP, we rise to debate the quarterly performance report from the Department of Community Safety and Liaison in KwaZulu-Natal. This report highlights both achievements and unachievements in the quarter under review. As we do oversight on the work of this department, we will highlight the underachieved targets. This department faces severe resources and budget disparities. This department manages roughly 275 million of its budget, which limits its ability to launch safety tech initiatives. The budget is too small. Engathi le department ingakwazi ukuthi inikezwe i-budget ezoba enough ukwenza umsebenzi wayo. The primary underachieved targets were concentrated heavily under the Program 2, which is Provincial Secretariat for Police Service. Delays are mainly driven by the administrative delays and intense budgetary constraints from the unfunded recruitment drives. Slalo on the key indicators failed to meet their specific targets for the quarter include CPF functionality assessment. The department fell behind its quarterly schedule to audit and assess the functionality of the local community police forums, which are known as CPFs. Honorable Chairperson, it is only fraction of targets municipalities has their CPFs formally evaluated for compliance and operational health. Joint safety initiatives with district municipalities, it is another failure. The department failed or underperformed on the number of planned coordinated cross-functional safety operations. Out of 10, multidisciplinary joint safety operations, only 6 were achieved, which gives a variance of the 4 underachieved target operations. District safety initiatives were also reported as underachieved due to budgetary diversions to youth and GBVF activist stipends. This department also targets for completing target civilians oversight inspections at the local police stations. Target for training, equipping, and launching active CPFs and rural safety structures often fall behind and recorded as underachieved. Ngabe lezi inhlaka zisisiza kakhulu Honorable Premier, more especially kulesikhathi esikusona ukube ngempela bayakwazi ukuthi bathole assistance in terms of funding a right to get ama equipment to assist the community in terms of foreign nationals arun ama-spaza shops ngendlela engekho emthethweni, and also uthola ukuthi kunama-foreign officials amaningi angena ama-document kodwa agcwele la sihlala khona. So lezi inhlaka lezi beziyalekelela kakhulu in that department. This Honorable Chair often forces Mr. Ntuli, who happens to be a Premier, Honorable Premier, in KwaZulu-Natal, to rush emergency recruitment drives and onboarding in the volatile wards. This department has also forced structural vacancies and budget constraints which delays specialized anti-crime interventions and public awareness campaigns. Deficiencies in local municipalities such as missing street light, unmapped roads, and lack of street signs render community patrolling structures less effective. In conclusion, Chairperson, this department needs to prove its success, not just on paper, but by ensuring our residents feel safer in their neighborhood. I thank you.
Siyathokoza kakhulu kumhlonishwa umthethwa. The next speaker is Honorable R. Gokul from the DA.
Honorable Chair, Honorable MEC, Honorable Members, the safety of our people remains one of the most fundamental responsibilities of any government. Every parent who fears their child walking to school, every business owner who closes early because of crime, every woman who feels unsafe in her own community, and every resident who has lost a loved one to violent crime. They are not concerned with political slogans. They are concerned with results. Today, we debate the budget of the Department of Community Safety and Liaison, a department whose success or failure directly impacts the daily lives of millions of KwaZulu-Natal residents. The Democratic Alliance supports a constructive and responsible government of provincial unity. Where the department gets things right, we will acknowledge it. Where there are shortcomings, we will identify them and offer practical solutions. This is not a department responsible for policing itself. The South African Police Service remains a national competency. However, this department plays a crucial role in oversight, accountability, community safety promotion, and strengthening the relationship between communities and law enforcement. The Portfolio Committee correctly notes that the department has intensified its oversight role over SAPS and municipal police services and has increased accountability engagements and docket audits. These are positive developments that deserve recognition. The department has also demonstrated a commitment to strengthening institutional capacity and community safety structures. These are welcome intentions. However, intentions alone do not make our community safer. The real question is whether this budget will produce measurable improvements in the lives of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. The department's allocation increases from 275 million to 287 million, representing an increase of just over 4%. While an increase is welcomed, it is important to recognize that this is largely an inflationary adjustment rather than a significant expansion of the department's capacity. At a time when our province continues to battle violent crime, organized criminal syndicates, extortion rackets, illegal firearms, cable theft, gender-based violence, and attacks on critical infrastructure, we must ask whether this increase is sufficient to meet the growing demands placed upon the department. The reality on the ground tells us that communities continue to feel unsafe. In eThekwini, residents are increasingly concerned about violent robberies, extortion of businesses, and attacks on municipal infrastructure. In King C, communities face challenges associated with organized criminal activity and infrastructure vandalism. In Ugu, residents regularly report concerns regarding rural policing visibility and response times. Across our province, communities are demanding one thing: effective action. The DA believes that fighting crime requires more than administration. It requires a comprehensive strategy that combines professional policing, effective oversight, modern technology, and active community participation. One area of concern is a reduction in funding for the EPWP integrated grant that supports social crime prevention volunteers. The committee notes that this allocation has declined from 5 million to 3 million. While we understand the fiscal constraints facing government, reducing resources that support community-based crime prevention initiatives sends the wrong message at a time when communities are demanding greater visibility and support. Crime prevention cannot begin only after a crime has occurred. It must begin in our communities. It must begin with active neighborhood structures. It must begin with empowered community policing forums. It must begin with youth intervention programs that steer our young people away from criminal activity. The DA therefore calls for stronger support for community-based safety initiatives and improved monitoring of the outcomes achieved through these programs. Another issue highlighted by the committee is the creation of the new office of the ministry with an allocation of 5 million, funded through reprioritization from Program 2. The DA is not opposed to ensuring that the ministry functions effectively. However, every rand spent on administration must be justified by improved service delivery outcomes. At a time when resources are constrained, the public expects frontline impact. The people of KwaZulu-Natal want safer streets. They want stronger oversight of SEPs. They want quicker responses to complaints. They want action against corrupt officials and criminal syndicates. The establishment of new administrative structures must never come at the expense of the department's core oversight and community safety functions. The committee has rightly committed itself to vigorous oversight of the department. The DA strongly supports this commitment. Oversight cannot simply be about counting meetings. Oversight must be about measuring outcomes. How many recommendations were implemented? How many disciplinary actions followed where failures were identified? How many repeat offenders were brought to justice? And how many police stations improved their performance? How many communities became safer? Those are the questions that matter. The DA's national crime campaign, Catch, Convict, Clean Up, recognizes that South Africans have become prisoners in their own communities. The campaign is founded on a simple principle: law-abiding citizens must never fear criminals more than criminals fear the law. To achieve this, we require professional, accountable, and capable policing. We require intelligence-led operations against organized crime. We require stronger action against extortion syndicates that are terrorizing businesses and construction projects. We require dedicated interventions against illegal firearms. We require improved detective services and better crime intelligence capabilities. And we require consequence management when policing failures occur. KwaZulu-Natal remains one of the provinces most affected by organized crime, political violence, and extortion. These criminal networks undermine economic growth, discourage investment, and destroy public confidence. The DA therefore calls for stronger coordination between provincial structures, SEPs, municipal law enforcement agencies, and intelligence services to combat organized criminal activity. Technology must also become a greater force multiplier in the fight against crime. Across the world, modern policing increasingly relies on technology. CCTV networks, automatic number plate recognition systems, drone surveillance, body-worn cameras, digital evidence management, real-time crime monitoring. The DA believes that these tools can significantly improve policing effectiveness and accountability. Community safety in the 21st century cannot rely exclusively on 20th century methods. No debate on safety would be complete without addressing the scourge of gender-based violence. Women and children continue to bear the devastating consequences of violent crime. While the committee notes additional allocations relating to GBV activists and community safety structures, these investments must produce measurable outcomes. We must ensure that victims receive support. We must ensure that perpetrators are prosecuted. We must ensure that police responses are professional and victim-centered. And we must ensure that prevention efforts reach communities before violence occurs. The DA further believes that community police forums remain one of the most important partnerships in crime prevention. Every child deserves a safe journey to school. Every family deserves security. Every business deserves protection. And every community deserves the freedom that comes with safety. Together, let us take back our streets, restore confidence in law enforcement, and build a safer KwaZulu-Natal for all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gokul. The next speaker for 4 minutes is Honorable Tinkosi from the EFF. Honorable Nkosi. Honorable Tinkosi. She's not in the meeting. Let us proceed. The next speaker after Tinkosi is Honorable C.M. Shinga. She sent an apology. And the next speaker is Honorable M.E. Lungwana for 4 minutes from the ANC.
Honorable Chairperson, munganginika la amanye ama-minute ngingajabula ngoba ngizingela ngomdlwane mina. Honorable Premier, Honorable Chairperson, of course the leadership of the SAPS as well as the department, the African National Congress has always maintained that the safety of our people is not merely policing matter. It is a constitutional imperative and a developmental priority that demands the whole of government and the whole of society's response, consistent with the ANC's vision of capable, ethical, and developmental state. As reaffirmed in our manifesto of 2024, our movement remains resolute in defending our constitutional democracy by keeping our homes and streets safe, strengthening policing, combating corruption and organized crime, and building a capable institutions that earn the confidence and trust of our people. It is against this background that we consider and support this budget vote. The department's allocation increased from 275 million to 287 million, which is merely about 4.2% increase. While it's modest, this allocation provides an important platform to strengthen civilian oversight over policing and deepen partnership that contribute to safer communities. The Portfolio Committee correctly observed that the department has strengthened its focus on policy oversight through increased accountability engagement with SAPS management, expanded docket audits, and closer monitoring of police performance. These are practical interventions that strengthen accountability and improve public confidence on policing. The ANC-led Portfolio Committee, led by the chairperson, Umamu Fraser, deserves recognition for demonstrating that effective oversight does not depend on who occupies the executive. Through police station oversight visit, quarterly performance reviews, budget scrutiny, and continuous monitoring of the departmental commitment, and the committee has ensured that the accountability remains at the center of this department's work. The department's all performance demonstrate that the surveillance oversight is making a difference. During the previous financial year, 163 police stations were monitored for compliance with the Domestic Violence Act. 134 police stations were assessed on detective servicing and docket withdrawals. 160 complaints against SAPS were processed, while 60 withdrawn criminal cases were recommended for further investigation following docket audits. Equally encouraging is in continued investment in community safety structures. The department assessed 135 community policing forums, which they play a very important role, and we appreciate this role that is being played by this community policing forum. However, progress must never make us complacent. Organized crime, extortion, illegal firearms, drug trafficking and infrastructure vandalism, gangsterism, and persistent scourge of gender-based violence continue to undermine both community safety and economic development in our province. These threats require stronger coordination between SAPS municipalities, prosecutors, community safety structures, consistent with our ANC's peace and stability resolutions. Kuningi bethi ngifuna ukukhuluma ngako la manje naku ngizingela ngomdlwane.
Thank you, Honorable Gungwane. Honorable T.A. Nene.
Honorable Speaker of the Session, Chairperson of the Session, Honorable Premier, Honorable members of this House, the Umkhonto weSizwe Party rises today to participate in this debate on Vote 9, Department of Community Safety and Liaison for the 2026-27 financial year. From the outset, let me state clearly that MK Party can't support this budget. We oppose it not because we are against community safety, not because we are against police oversight, and certainly not because we are against accountability. We oppose this budget because it fails to respond adequately to the scale of crime crisis confronting the people of KZN. It is a budget that speaks the language of administration while our communities are crying out for protection. It is a budget that celebrates oversight while criminals continue to terrorize our people on the streets. Speaker and Chairperson of the Session, the report before us indicates that the department's budget has increased from 275.7 million to 287.4 million, representing a mere 4.22% increase. In real terms, once inflation and rising operational costs are taken into account, this increase is negligible. The people of KZN are expected to believe that an additional 11.6 million is sufficient to address escalating levels of violent crime, gender-based violence, drug trafficking, stock theft, political killings, cash in transit, heist, extortion syndicates, and other organized criminal networks that continue to spread fear throughout the province of KZN. The reality is that KwaZulu-Natal remains one of the most dangerous provinces in South Africa. Communities in eThekwini, Umgungundlovu, Zululand, Herikwala, King Cetwa, and many other rural areas continue to live under the constant threat of criminality. According to the national crime statistics, murder, attempted murder, rape, aggravated robbery remain among the most prevalent crimes affecting our citizens. Every day, families bury their loved ones, women live in fear, businesses close because of extortionists, and young people are recruited into criminal activities because government has failed to provide meaningful opportunities. Yet this budget offers no bold intervention equal to the severity of this crisis. Chairperson of the Session, one of the most troubling aspects of this budget is the reduction in funding for the expanded public works program grant aimed at supporting social crime prevention volunteers. The report confirms that funding has declined from 5.324 million to 3.976 million. This reduction comes at a time when unemployment remains one of the biggest drivers of crime. It is unacceptable that government reduces resources that could create jobs while simultaneously helping communities combat criminal activity. The MK Party believes that crime prevention cannot be separated from economic justice. Communities that suffer from unemployment, poverty, inequality become fertile ground for criminal syndicates. Young people who can't find jobs become vulnerable to gangs and drug dealers and cartels. Therefore, reducing programs that create employment opportunities while claim to fight crime reflects a fundamental contradiction in government policy. Chairperson of the session, the committee welcomes the establishment of a new office of the ministry at a cost of 5.2582 million. The MK party asks a simple question. How does creating another administrating office make communities safer? How does another office protect women from GBV? How does another bureaucracy prevent murders in township and rural areas? How does another management structure stop extortionists from terrorizing businesses? At a time when resources are scarce, government should be directing every available rand towards frontline interventions, community safety programs, victim support services, crime intelligence coordination, and strengthening local safety structures. Instead, funds are being reprioritized from Program 2, which deals directly with police oversight and community safety functions, towards administrative expansion. This is precisely the type of misplaced priority that has become characteristic of the current government. Chairperson, the report repeatedly refers to oversight of SAPS as a major achievement. Oversight is important, yes, but oversight alone does not stop crime. Communities do not experience safety because reports are written. Communities experience safety when criminals are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted. Communities experience safety when police stations are properly staffed, detectives have resources, forensic laboratories function efficiently, and response times improved. The department's own mandate recognizes its responsibility to strengthen community policing relation and oversee police performance. Yet, despite years of oversight meetings, crime levels remain unacceptably high. This suggests that oversight without measurable consequences become little more than a bureaucratic exercise. The MK party therefore calls for strong accountability mechanisms. When police stations consistently fail communities, there must be consequences. When investigations collapses because of incompetence, there must be consequences. When corruption infiltrates law enforcement structures, there must be consequences. The people of KwaZulu-Natal deserve results, not endless meetings. Honorable Member, the report notes an additional allocation of 22 million towards community safety structures, complaints management systems, GPV activists, and law graduate placements. While these initiatives are welcome, serious questions remain regarding implementation. South Africans have become accustomed to hearing impressive announcements and ambitious plans, only to discover later that targets were missed and funds were underutilized. The MK party will closely monitor whether these allocations translate into tangible improvements in community safety. We will demand evidence that community safety forums are functioning effectively and get enough support. We will demand evidence that complaints against police are resolved promptly. We will demand evidence that gender-based violence programs reach the vulnerable communities. We will demand evidence that young law graduates receive meaningful opportunities rather than temporary placements that do not lead to sustainable employment. Chairperson of the session, the tragedy facing our province is that citizens are increasingly losing confidence in the state's ability to protect them. In many communities, residents rely on private security, community patrols, informal structures, like in Newcastle, in Mataten, when you find informal structures called Abaqondisi, Operation Wozawa, assisting the community that needs additional support. And they feel abandoned by criminal justice system. This situation is dangerous because public safety should never become a privilege reserved for those who can afford private protection. The MK Party believes that safety is a constitutional right. Every child deserves to walk to school safely. Every woman deserves to live free from fear. Every business owner deserves protection from extortion. Every community deserves effective policing and responsive government. Unfortunately, this budget does not inspire confidence that these objectives will be achieved. Chairperson of the session, the ANC, IFP, and TA have chosen to support this budget. They have chosen to endorse a modest increase while communities face an escalating crime crisis. They have chosen to support the increase of new administrative structures.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Honorable Mapisa for 6 minutes from the IFP.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, the Honorable Premier, the Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable MEC Shomuga, and Honorable members and officials, both from departments and the legislature. Honorable Chair, I am rising to debate the 2026-27 budget debate, not the quarterly performance report as stated by Honorable Mteto. Let me first begin by expressing my deepest appreciation to the Honorable Premier, Honorable Ntuli, for his decisive leadership and unwavering commitment in improving the lives of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. In particular, we commend the Honorable Premier for his successful recommendation that the Provincial Commissioner be retained as the Provincial Commissioner of the Province of KwaZulu-Natal. The recommendation is a reflective of the confidence that many communities across our province have in the leadership of General Mkhwanazi. Under his command, the South African Police Service has intensified the fight against organized crime, political killings, extortion, drug syndicates, and violent criminals. While we recognize that crime remains a serious challenge, we have also seen determined leadership, greater police visibility, and a willingness to confront criminal networks that have brought fear to many of our communities. The continued cooperation between the Department of Community Safety and Liaison and SAPS sends a strong message that the safety of our people remains a priority. The IFP welcomes this partnership because fighting crime requires political leadership, professional policing, and active community participation. As we are debating a budget today, we must understand that a budget cannot be separated from demographics. Every department plan its program using population figures. Schools are built according to the number of learners. Clinics are funded according to the number of patients. Roads, housing projects, social programs, and policing all depend on reliable population statistics. The department's annual performance plan reminds us that KwaZulu-Natal has an estimated population of 12 million people and continues to experience migration from neighboring countries. This places increasing pressure on housing, infrastructure, policing, and other public services. If government allocates resources based on one number, while the actual number of people receiving services is much higher, then service delivery will always fall behind demand. That is why everyone living in our province must be properly accounted for. We cannot continue planning with incomplete information while communities experience overcrowded schools, overburdened clinics, and increasing pressure on policing services. The Honorable Premier took a firm stand on illegal immigration through Operation Engangeni Ngesang Yaforh. This initiative demonstrates courageous leadership and willingness to address issues. The call for undocumented foreign nationals to be dealt with according to the laws of our country is not about discrimination or being xenophobic. It is about ensuring that the rule of law is respected and that government is able to plan properly for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Honorable Chair, as the Book of Proverbs says, when the righteous are in authority, people rejoice. The Honorable Premier went street by street, factory by factory, and town by town. the Honorable Premier made the call that all illegal immigrants must go back to their countries. And the responsible citizens and leaders responded positively on the call of the Honorable Premier. And we appreciate those leaders who was responsible enough to respond to the call of the Honorable Premier, who went across all the streets of our province because they understood that the Honorable Premier cannot be everywhere in one point. We appreciate Mr. Pagelum Tagati, we appreciate Mrs. Zuma, we appreciate President Ngizwe Mchunu of the Pinga Nation. We also appreciate the Honorable Mayor of Inkosilanga Libalele, Councillor Mduduzi Sopolenyoni Miyeza. We appreciate the initiatives that was done by the Honorable Mayor of Mhlatuze, Councillor Ungwezi. We also appreciate the efforts that was done by Councillor Uzama Sbisi in Alfred Dome. Honorable Chair, we can politicize all other things if we may be tempted to do so, but not the safety of our communities. The crime affects us, all of us, regardless of political party slogans. You cannot divorce crime or illegal immigration with opportunities that should be occupied by South Africans. Honorable Premier, you have provided leadership. The IFP welcomes this partnership because fighting crime requires political leadership, professional policing, and active community participation. Yes, kuba njalo ke sihlalo. Those who know that they only climb the ladder of political leadership by gossiping and praising one man, they think all of us we are like that. As we are debating a budget today, we must understand that a budget cannot be separated from demographics. Every department plan its programs using population figures. Schools are built according to the numbers of learners. Clinics are funded according to the number of patients. Roads, housing projects, social programs, and policing all depend on the reliable population. Honorable Chairperson, when we arrive here, the Honorable Speaker encouraged all of us to get educated.
We then now give our Premier for responses.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The Honorable MEC Shomoga for Education and Honorable MEC Martin Mayer for Public Works and Infrastructure, Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Chair of the Portfolio for Community Safety and Liaison, Honorable Fraser, Honorable members, the HOD, Acting HOD for Community Safety and Liaison, Ms. Makanya, the Acting Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal, Major General Makoba, and the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Major General Kopel, the CFO for Community Safety and Liaison, Ms. Mbata. Thank you very much, colleagues, for this quite interesting debate. The only worry was the emphasis that the department is underperforming. But on the report that I presented, which I thought members understood, Honorable Princess Telezi, I also wish to recognize you, good self. The report I presented here was saying this department performance improved from 93% to 99.7%. And I'm failing to see underperformance. And the report I presented was saying 49% of procurement was achieved for women owned businesses as opposed to the target of 40%. 9% more. I don't see that as an underperformance. This report was saying 38% of procurement for youth businesses exceeded a target of 30%, 8% more, and that is called underperformance. And this report I presented said we have met 2% target on people living with disabilities, and we are aspiring to do more, and that is called underperformance. This report presented the decline in crime in the province of KwaZulu-Natal in a number of categories. Each quarter, crime is declining in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. This report presented 927 inspection of the dockets. This report I presented 14% to 5% as a target on the vacancy rate. I acknowledge that there are areas that we need to address, but we are addressing them indeed in terms of irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, wherein consequence management is the order of the day. Well, honorable leaders, I must thank Honorable Kwala, Honorable Fraser, Honorable Shomuga, Honorable Dlungwane, Honorable Mapisa, for their positive assessment and positive inputs on the debate. And other honorable members, they were quite positive, except that for the members I've mentioned, they demonstrated the understanding of the impact that has been induced by the Department of Community Safety and Liaison in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Because if I may explain to the House, fighting crime strategy in KwaZulu-Natal, we do not believe that only police will end crime in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. That is why we are mobilizing community policing. That is why, as part of this report, I presented that we have equipped, I'm sorry, Honorable Speaker, I did not recognize that you are present even in the earlier time, if is the speaker that I see that other side. Honorable members, fighting crime. Oh, it's not the speaker. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Well, fighting crime in the province of KwaZulu-Natal requires that we all work together. Before we were members of this august house, we were members of the society. And there are volunteers that are participating in the community safety structures. Most of them who are unemployed. But you will likely see honorable leaders or employees, people who are employed participating in volunteerism, of which I'm making a call, that our effort to engage communities, Izimbizo or premiers crime fighting Izimbizo that have been mentioned here, they're an important strategy to mobilize the entire society in fighting crime. You can deploy whatever resources, you can have the biggest budget, but if the entire community does not understand its own role in fighting crime, we'll have a problem. Hence, our strategy is clear, is widely recognized that community policing is the order of the day and is the solution in fighting crime. That is why we are capacitating safety structures. That is why we are strengthening safety structures. We have now more than 9,000 community safety structures in the entire province of KwaZulu-Natal. As I've indicated that in this financial year, the previous financial year, we have equipped and trained 3,251 community safety structures. You can mention the CPF, you can mention ISCAP, which they are referred to as CCPA, you can mention the patrollers, you can mention the neighborhood watch, you can mention men and women in blue, you can mention the many in the province. We are encouraging more citizens to participate in this formal fight against crime, which is based on the safety structures and community policing. And part of the reflections by the external reports was that the confidence by the society to report crime in the province of KwaZulu-Natal is improving because of the community policing approach, which as the Community Safety and Liaison Department, we are advocating for. We must understand that until every citizen in the province of KwaZulu-Natal participates in community policing, works with the police, report criminals, will be unable to end crime in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We are also deploying technology, the smart technology. As you will know, in Inanda, Kwamashu, in Tozuma, we have the surveillance cameras that are overseeing that area now, which we are about to launch, which we have launched it already, but the equipment is there, it's already working. I've been to Inanda Police Station on numerous occasions. When we took over this office into the office of the Premier, Nanda Police Station was police station number 1 in the entire country for having high stats of crime. But now Nanda is number 4. That is an evidence that what we are doing, working with the law enforcers, working with the police, the community and the safety structures, those strategies are actually working for delivering the desirable outcomes. I know, honorable leaders, that the role of the opposition is to hold the government accountable. But it's always at times important to acknowledge the achievements where they are possible. And I really respect Honorable Mtetwa for always not forgetting to mention what is positive. And the other honorable chair or other honorable member was Honorable Nene, who displayed an insight. And I've shared, in fact, I would wish that I also browsed through his presentation today, because was displaying the insight and the understanding that something good is happening, but there are gaps because crime is still high. But we must all accept and understand that people of KwaZulu-Natal are recognizing the efforts that are made by government. And I must say, though people may be said to be no longer having confidence over the state to provide their safety, it's because they were misplaced in terms of understanding the role of the state. Hence, this approach needs to be understood by everyone, that the community safety is not the sole responsibility of the state, but is the responsibility of all sectors of our society. That is why we have the Council Against Crime in our province, wherein academia sits, wherein a law enforcer sits, where even business sits, wherein civil society sits, where is the spiritual leaders against crime sits, because that is the approach that will deliver. And we have seen the progress, as I've indicated, that the decline in crime stats of 13% is not an easy thing to achieve within 2 years. That is the evidence that whether you agree or disagree, the strategy we're using in the process of KwaZulu-Natal is a working strategy. We visited Western Cape, Honorable Kokul, for benchmarking, and we discovered, Honorable Mgadi, through you, Honorable Chair, that there are some good practices in Western Cape, but they also accepted that they also see some good practices in KwaZulu-Natal that they can also borrow from what we are doing in KwaZulu-Natal. We also benchmarked with the Gauteng province under the leadership of Premier Panyaza Lesofi, where in technology that was discussed here is used at a better level than our own technology. And we are learning from other provinces because we believe we need to benchmark so that we improve, so that we deliver the desirable outcomes. I must admit, our people are still not feeling safe in the streets of KwaZulu-Natal. But we are working together with the safety structures. I can assure you, KwaZulu-Natal will be safer because not only of the state, but because of the men and women who have taken to their, in fact, conviction that they need to volunteer for your safety as an honorable member, for your family safety as an honorable member, for the safety of the entire society. Siyazi ukuthi umnotho waKwaZulu-Natal ngeke uzukwazi ukukhula uma ngabe lungekho uzinzo kungekho kuphepha. Umhlangano oqala engawubamba nosomabhizinisi balapha eThekwini bangitshela lokho ukuthi amabhizinisi amaningi asebalekile, amanye asohlelweni lokubaleka ngenxa yokungabikho kuphepha la KwaZulu-Natal. Bangiluleka ukuthi angale koNyukasela awelele eSwatini, angapha eThekwini ashona ko-Western Cape. Kwenzakaleni emveni kwalokho? Emveni kokusebenza kwacaca ukuthi sibheke kuphi njengohulumeni futhi saZulu-Natal. In 2 years, we have attracted new investment of more than 180 billion. Ngoba siyazi ukuthi ukuphepha esifundazweni saKwaZulu-Natal ikona okuzokwenza ukuthi impilo zabantu bakwaZulu-Natal zibe ngcono. Ikona okuzodala ukuthi ngenkathi zonke izifundazwe zehlelwa amathuba omsebenzi, iKwaZulu-Natal yona ikhuphuke ngebalo zamathuba omsebenzi. Ngoba ukuphepha kwaZulu-Natal kuyimpi esiyilwayo. The program of Engangeni Ngesango Eyafohla was launched in 2024 before any march could be seen about undocumented migration. And the operations started in 2024 after we inherited, as the 7th administration, Community Safety and Liaison into the office of the Premier. Hence, we went to a Matateni with a Newcastle honorable members. Yes, which Honorable Kubane can attest to that, Honorable Chair. Saima Poti, Sabafita Ngampela, Abaku 240, Ababekona, Bengina Mapep, Aboshwa, Waboshum Negas, Sabuya says a lapa, Estenga, Lapa Jestenga, Safika Nakona, Sabafita Banga Pesga 300, Saya Nasemandin, Sahambe Teguin, Amapisa Batlashugashugane Nisho, we de Poyama track, Saifika Katata. General Hulman, Community Safety and Liaison, to ensure the safety of our society. But I understand it's not easy to admit. Isin to say Shuguti Ageko ongadla kahle imbangi ekhaya. Manje ke, honorable leaders, this is a very important debate because it speaks to the breadth and the veins of everything in our society. And I agree with the honorable members fully, from the left and from the right. Honorable Kokul, I must commend you for your debate, in particular on a point that you mentioned regarding the budget increase. That really is not enough. We need to understand the role that this department must play so as to deliver the entire free from crime society. We need enough budget, but we understand the fiscal constraints, fiscal pressures, the budget cuts. That is why we are calling for cooperation with private sector so that they come on board to support our efforts as government and the society in fighting crime. That is why we're working with the private security in combating crime in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. That is why we're cooperating with safety structures. Honorable Member, Honorable Chair said, well, in informal settlements, there are those who are quite informal who are posing a threat. They are patrolling for crime. As soon as we recognize them, we'll rope them into the formal program of fighting crime. We will train them, we'll make them ambassadors of fighting against crime. Hence, you see the reflectors in the province of KwaZulu-Natal all over. Even during the 30th of June, you could see them, they were visible. Because we are serious in fighting crime, including fighting drugs. If I can give stats of how many, in fact, cartels have been arrested by the police in the province of KwaZulu-Natal because of the information provided by the very same ministry, wherein you are saying that budget to the ministry may be not important. There's a very important coordinating office that enhances the work of community safety and liaison, that links direct the executive authority of community safety with the entire society, while OTP focuses on coordination and other apex mandates. It's a very important and is working. The police can attest that that is an effective office which is delivering results, and drug dealers, they know and they don't know who's behind some of the information. Intelligence and also the office is working quite tirelessly to ensure that the people of KwaZulu-Natal, they realize and in fact hope, new hope about the future, that one day they will be safe because this government is capable, this government is delivering. Bagwethu ngithokoze kakhulu nge-debate. Konke amaphuzu eniwabekile, they are all important. Thank you very much, honorable leaders.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier, and thank you, honorable members. We have come to the end of the debate on vote 9. Thank you so much. See you on Thursday.
I also wanted them to say that for you. Oh,